Cannery Row by John Steinbeck is the third Steinbeck novel that I have read thus far. The first was Grapes of Wrath in high school, and so I will have to reread that one before I'm confident in which star rating I would give it. The second was The Pearl, and I gave The Pearl 5 stars, and I will provide a link to my review on Goodreads in the description below. Cannery Row, then, is the third novel that I've read of John Steinbeck's, and I give this one a 2-star. It just was not for me. I have yet to travel to California. I know nothing of Monterey outside of having read this novel. What I do understand from the outside looking in, without having traveled to California, is the whole notion of there being the right side and the wrong side of the tracks, so to speak. Cannery Row focuses on the wrong side of the tracks. The people that lived down the hill rather than upon it. And just like my recent review of Nobody Gets Out Alive, Cannery Row is just full of sadness. The difference with Cannery Row from Nobody Gets Out Alive is that the majority of the novel is a continuation of one story. There are, however, vignettes or stories within the story that have nothing to do with the book as a whole. It's like a story unto itself within the novel. I found that these vignettes did not enrich the storyline whatsoever. And because they seemed so out of the blue to me, I just didn't feel like the vignettes were necessary. I feel like the vignettes should have been cut from Cannery Row as a whole. If I were just rating this book on Steinbeck's literary use of the English language, then it would definitely get 5 stars. Just for instance, the opening page, page 1. This is classic Steinbeck. Cannery Row in Monterey, California is a poem, a stink, a grating noise, a quality of light, a tone, a habit, a nostalgia, a dream. Cannery Row is the gathered and scattered tin and iron and rust and splintered wood, chipped pavement and weedy lots and junk heaps. Sardine canneries of corrugated iron, honky tonks, restaurants and whorehouses, and little crowded groceries and laboratories and flophouses. So while there are sentences of brilliance, this work as a whole just really turned me off. Now, my copy of Cannery Row is from 1945. It did not have a dust jacket. I happened to find it in a free box here in Juneau, Alaska. And I picked it up mainly because, hey, it's an old book. It's yellow, as in other previous videos. I shared with you some of my favorite colors, one of them being yellow. And so yellow makes me happy. And then, of course, I saw that it was Steinbeck, and I thought, perhaps this is a winning combination, an antique book that has a yellow cover, and it's by John Steinbeck. Unfortunately, how wrong I was. I knew nothing about the book. I had no idea what it was going to be about. I picked it up because it said cannery. Being that I live in Juneau, Alaska, and just Alaska as a whole, canneries are part of Alaska's history and the current state of affairs in which we live. And because of my knowledge of canneries here in the state of Alaska, it caused me to want to read about Cannery Row from John Steinbeck's perspective. Of course, little did I know the cannery is at the end. It's there, but it's not. It's more about the characters that live in the Skid Row surrounding it. One thing that John Steinbeck does really well is that John Steinbeck's open-ended way of finishing his novels works because you're not left with, I want to know more. What happened next? Oh, I can't complete the story. I have no idea how things turned out. His books are ones in which I am accepting that there isn't a tight finish or a the end involved. Doc, along with a corner store owner named Leigh, are the main characters in this book that I'm drawn to. It's like those are the main characters of the book that bring hope to this small, tight-knit community of people that were discarded, thrown away, or people that chose to keep to themselves or live on the wrong side of the tracks. People whose circumstances found themselves there and who now feel at home within being on the wrong side of the tracks, even while acknowledging that they had potential to be different, even while acknowledging that something inside of them would like nothing more than to be considered good enough to live up the hill rather than down below it. But Doc and Leigh especially bring hope to the characters that don't have a home or don't have a home base to call their own, validate the people around them, and attempt to call them higher. They call out the good in them for the most part. It's not perfect, it's not without drama. Leigh, and Doc are only human. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Now let me read you the last paragraph. Even now, I know that I've savored the hot taste of life, lifting green cups and gold at the great feast, just for a small and a forgotten time. I've had full in my eyes from off my girl the whitest pouring of eternal light. And even though it seems a depressive ending, it's the words that Doc spoke that show he has had moments in his life of goodness, joy, fulfillment. There's sadness and there's joy, but he's embraced it all. He's recognized it. He's acknowledged it. He's lived it. You can leave feeling full or that, okay, that's an ending I can accept. Why this book isn't for me, because of all things, Cannery Row mainly has a whorehouse as a central fixation. There's not necessarily any lewd content where the focus is the goings on inside of the whorehouse. It's just the fact that the whorehouse is so prevalent within it. The girls and the madam and how everything kind of works in this weird pattern of alcohol and women and alcohol and women and best laid plans always going awry and nothing seems to work out right. I have a hard time believing that somebody's plans could always fall apart so spectacularly. Read it at your own risk. It's a 5-star because it's Steinbeck and he has his own form of genius, but it's a 2-star and that it just wasn't for me. And I know I can't be the only one that it's simply not for. And remember, I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Until next time, friends.